Hey everybody, it's Mark Johnson, the running maverick, the money maverick.
And I'm Michelle at Real Michelle Melissa.
And you're chilling with the Johnsons. Hope you guys are doing well. We're well. A lot of people have been talking to us and asking us questions about gender roles. And I know this is a sticky topic for many people out there. We're talking about those that want to get in a relationship, couples, want to get married, dating. So what is your take on gender roles, I guess?
I mean, you know what? I know the world's pretty crazy. Just even the idea of gender is very, very fluid in a lot of cases. And it's respectful. I think for us, we're pretty traditional in a lot of just the way we approach everything, which is fine. I don't know. It seems like we have, I think, fairly traditional gender roles. And I don't really have an issue with it. Once in a while I might want to switch it up. But that's like, when I want you to make oxtail or something like that. But, because I heard you make oxtail very well. So that can happen more frequently. But I don't even think that's a feminine thing. That's just, that's a Mark and I thing. That's not really, I don't know. What do you think about gender roles?
Like you said before, I think we both grew up in very traditional homes where the woman was the caretaker, I guess. She was the one living at home, taking care of children, things like that. And the man went out and did what he had to do to provide for the family. So I think that's where we were brought up, and that works for us. I mean, like you said before, like whatever you want to do in your situation, that's what you got to do with you and your significant other or spouse or wife or husband or person that you're living with. Mm-hmm. That's an agreement between you two. And as long as it works for you, who cares what somebody else has to think? A lot of times we listen to outsiders, how society is going on or how they're doing it, and we want to implement that within our relationship. And that may not work. Like, you two have to agree on what you agree on.
Right. Like, I mean, if you think of even our relationship, I hope you don't get mad, but like painting is an issue.
Oh, yeah. It's an issue with her, not me.
Yeah, because he doesn't do it.
I don't paint.
I do.
And many of you might think that a man needs to paint, but I choose not to. Like, I don't want to mess it up, and she's a better painter than I am. So I'm willing to allow her to paint, but I don't want to throw it on me saying that I'm not a man because I don't paint. I just don't choose to paint.
Yeah, we kind of had a fight about it before.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people came to me and saying, why are you painting? You should be the man painting. And then I kind of felt like, yeah, it should be him painting. But I'm like, but I actually want to paint. And if I don't paint, it's not going to get done unless I pay somebody else to do it. Now, I do like to paint. So I don't really mind. But it's more when other people see that I'm doing it and then start commenting on it. I took it on and then I started getting mad at him. And I thought, you know what? It just didn't make sense that fighting about it because I still like to paint and I got it painted and it's done. Right. But why is it that he has to paint and I have to cook? What if he's a better cook than me? I mean, that's, if he's a better cook, then shouldn't he cook more? If that's what he wanted to do? No?
It's based on what you agree with, right? Like,
yeah.
Again, we're married 10 years, and I think a lot of times in marriage, because we can talk from that marriage aspect, there is compromise, and sometimes a lot on one end than the other.
Right.
But again, like, if she chooses to cook and she wants to cook, and I don't want to cook, and we still eat, I think that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
You know what I mean? Like, as long as we need to eat and it's done, yes, at least I can be, if she does more of the cooking, I can be more sympathetic and say, okay, I know she's doing more of the cooking, so I'll do more of something else. So at least that we can say that we're working on a balance where, like, she might do all the cooking, but I might do all the cleaning. Or if she's doing the cooking and the cleaning, I can do some more of something else. Happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Right? So
listen, anything that has to do with the car, that's on you.
Oh, yeah, I'll do the car stuff.
Oil changes, all that lovely stuff. That's you.
Stuff.
I don't mind cooking and cleaning. I actually like to cook. Mm-hmm. Cleaning needs to be done, so I do it, and so that's fine. I don't know. I think that after a while, you kind of have to figure out in your own relationship what works and
Works
what
for
doesn't.
you. That's it.
And you can't listen to people saying, well, it should be this way, and he should do this, and you should be doing that. And some things, yeah, it works out that way. Some things, maybe other people might think, no, no, no. But then I'm like, well, you're not in it. Like, you're not there. So at the end of the day, you know, there's a few things where I draw the line, but not too much. I don't know. What do you think? Is there something that you just wouldn't do?
Again, it's a choice, right? And
Right.
if the other person sees that the person will never do those things, I think a lot of times you should just let it be. Like,
Yeah.
I always look at how are some people married for 30, 40, 50 years, and a lot of times it is compromise. But then the person loves the person so much that it's like, okay, I'm not going to push him to do this if he doesn't want to do it. I think it takes time. You learn over time that, it doesn't even make sense. Like, let's stay together, get what needs to get done, especially if the person doesn't want to do it and you can get it done. And it doesn't even take that long. It makes sense just to get it done and then move on.
In marriage, you have to pick your battles.
Definitely, that's one thing, and we're going to do a couple more videos on that
Yeah.
to help you guys out there. Definitely, those that want to get into marriage, or those that are in marriage right now and it may not be working the way you want it to work, or those that have been in marriage a long time and you need to spice it up, or you want to do something different, as in among used to. Definitely reach out to us, connect with us, comment on this video, share it with someone you know that may need help with. Even listening to something like this, because a lot of people are not talking about these things, and that's why we're here to help.
Yeah,
help.
we're here to help. We're here to listen. We're here to, learn too. I mean, we don't know everything either.
Trial and error every day.
There's people who've been married for so long. Like, I'm sure I'd love to talk to them because they must know something.
Oh yeah, they must have experience in something. They've been together a long, 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 long time.
Yeah.
So.
Whew.
We're 10 years, and it's like,
oh, 10 years is, but then, listen, 10 years is a long time.
It is. Definitely a long time.
But then there are people that have been married for 50 years, not 50 years old, but I mean, people have been married for 50 years, and it's like, that's a long time. So, but, I think, what are the takeaways? I think, choosing your battles, just, you don't want to end up. You don't want to end up arguing every day. You don't want to end up nagging the person to be something or trying to change them into something that they never were.
Yeah, you can't change. A lot of times I see people trying to change someone, like, oh, I'm going to get with this person, and when I get with them, it's going to change. And I'm like, no, it's not going to necessarily change, because it's up to that person if they want to change. And
relationships.
If they don't want to change, relationships
are not a project.
No, that's right. That's right. A lot of people are looking for a project, but I'm like, why would you want a project?
No.
You want someone that you can live with and grow with, and not someone that you need to work on.
No.
We're not.
You work on yourself.
Yeah, we're not robots. You're not gonna get with somebody and work on them. Kind of like, no. If they want to change, they will change, or at least mature. And like I said, change, that means mature, grow up. But they have to choose to do that. You can't force someone to do that, because a lot of times when you force someone to do something and they don't want to do it, they're out, they rebel, they act up, and it just doesn't work. So it's a headache. And then you get a headache. You're like, how come this ain't working? And it's like, but they're not a project. Like, you got to work on you first. And then maybe if you work on yourself, that person will say, oh, she's working on herself, she's changing, or he's changing. Maybe I need to change myself. And that might cause them to change now. Right? But again, that's working on you and then them working on themselves. So what do you say to, like, I know you have a lot of girlfriends, and they come to you and say they can't find the right man out there, or their man that they're with is not doing this, and this. What do you say to them? Like,
well, okay. Like, are they already with somebody, or are they just, like...
Let's start with the women that are looking for somebody, because a lot of times there's a lot of single people out there, which is fine. If you're single, that's okay. It's a different stage in life. Well, so what do you say to a single person, and then what would you say to someone already in a relationship?
If you're a single person and you want to be in a relationship, there's a few things. Like, make sure you're good. Like, don't be looking for, like, the next Idris, and, like, he's, like, a tech billionaire, and you're, like, trying to find, like, I don't know. Like, you're not doing anything. You're not, like, you need to have realistic expectations, and you can also make sure that, like, you're good. Like, if you feel like you're in a good place emotionally, you're not broken, you're not gonna come, like, the perfect guy could come to you, but you're gonna just have all your old relationship mess on that person. Like, you need to be healed and you have to be in a good place. That's the first thing. And then you should write down what you want. Like, you should know what you want. I remember before I met Mark, before I ever saw him, I had an idea as to what I wanted. Because if you don't know what you want, then that's a big problem. Like, you can't be expecting a person to just fulfill what you want when you don't even know what you want. And there are some key things we had.
The right person might come along and you don't have a list or you don't even know what you want, and then the person comes along and then you're gone again because you're not ready for that person. You don't really know what you want. You don't have a list put together. Yeah,
at least something. Even I wrote it down, and I wrote down what I wanted, and I prayed about it too. I'm like, this is what I want. Like, and you don't compromise on certain things. There's certain things you just don't necessarily need to compromise on, but you also have to be coming correct as well. Like, you can't, as I said, you can't be expecting everything and then you don't have anything to offer. So I would say the best thing is to make sure you're good, make sure you're in a good place emotionally, and then also make sure that you know what you want. And so when you do see that person, you can appreciate them because they are what you want.
So what do you say with the women in a relationship now? They got what they wanted, or they thought they got what they wanted, and now they're in a relationship 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and it's like they're not getting what they want. Or it's switched.
It's switched. Like, well, once again, you have to know what you want.
Well, you're already in it now.
Well, you're in it now. If you're in it for 4 or 5 years, it must have been something that got you there, to be there that long. Now, I mean, it's more just, what did you see in this person in the first place? And can you connect and get back to that? And, communication is everything too. Like, are you talking to this person? Hopefully you're not talking to... The biggest problem, I think, in some relationships is that you're talking more to other people than to the person that you're actually in a relationship with. And that can be, like, devastating because you can't be confiding in other people and then the person doesn't even know what's happening. And a marriage is really between two people, but if you're getting input from other people who might not even be married, it could really ruin your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to know, like, what are you doing? Like, what do you want? Talk to this person and say, okay, well, do they, like, what behavior do they have that's making you upset? How come you're reacting that way? Can you control your reaction to whatever that behavior is? Like, if it's something really, like, non-negotiable, like this person's cheating on me and doing all sorts of craziness, then, that's something you have to figure out. Can you tolerate that? Is that something that you should tolerate? I would say no, but you have to understand what the steps are to figure out what you're going to do. Like, you can't just, it depends. I mean, like, if you have children involved too, like, there's a lot more at stake than just you, but it depends on if it's just you and this person, you're not married, you got to figure out what you want. And time is going, and especially as a woman, man, you gotta figure out what you want quick, because that clock, if you're interested in having children, you have a time frame. Even if you don't want to have kids, like, you only everyone has a limited life, so I mean, you have to figure out, don't waste your time. I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense. I know, like, I asked you the question about the single, and then, like, a lot of single men as I grow up coming to me and saying to me, like, how do you find your wife? And I'm looking for the woman that can do this, and this. And like you were saying before, when you're single, you may have a list, and that's great. You know what you want. And you may not find what you want at this time. But again, are you ready for that? I've talked to a lot of people. I'm in my 40s now, and I'll talk to people in their 40s or men in their 40s, single, and I ask them what they want in a woman, and they'll give me a list. And then I'll say to them, okay, you want a Naomi Campbell, or you want somebody that's at your level. You want someone that's at a level, but I'm like, are you at that level too? Are you at a level where you can provide for someone, protect someone, take care of someone? Are you at that maturity stage where you're ready to settle down? Like, I meet a lot of guys in their 40s, they're not even ready to settle down yet, but then they want someone that's ready to settle down, and I'm like, no. If they're willing to settle down, but you're not, this ain't gonna work. Like, again, like you said before, you have to be kind of like on the same page as someone where you have the same goals and dreams, and you know what that person's about, and you're on the same wavelength. Just like frequencies, like, if you're not in the same frequency, it's game over. Like, you're not gonna sync with somebody if you both are not. And then we're talking about older people. We're not talking about young. cats that are still enjoying your single life. And single is single. Marriage is marriage. Or together. Yeah, with somebody is totally different than when you're by yourself. When you're by yourself, you can do whatever you want. You can sport, you can enjoy life. But again, when you get into a relationship and you're in a relationship now, or you're committed to somebody and you're married to somebody, it's totally different than when you were single, because now you're you're syncing with somebody. And the single life, like I said before, is totally different. So like I said before, like she was saying with the singles, if you're single and you know what you want, you have that list, and you're looking for somebody that's on the same wavelength, and you don't want to settle down now it's time, like life is going to change. Again, if you're in a relationship already and it's not working the way you want it to work, I think, like you said before, you got to communicate with the person, see where they're at, say, hey, this is what we planned on before, and I understand people change, but is there some way that we can do it something a little bit different, right? So I'm thinking that's where I'm at. That's where my mindset is, and this is just a little advice that we're saying through our experiences, and it might be different from you, which is fine, but I think, yeah, you got to know what you're about. You have to know what you want, and then teaming up with someone that wants actually the same thing, because when you sing together, it's better.
Right. Like what I love with Mark was that I knew that he was somebody who wanted more and was ambitious, and I knew I could build a life with him. And I think that was huge. Like, we didn't have much when we got married, and but through the years, and we stuck together, and we've been building and continue to build. And I think that if you can find somebody, because I think a lot of the times I find that women want someone who is already completely done, like they've already, I don't know, like I talk to a lot of women, it sounds like they want a man to be like completely a finished person, like, okay, they have all the money, they have all this, all that. Meanwhile, they don't have anything. And it's like, okay, if you are coming with all of this, then I can understand that you're that person, you want to be with somebody on the same wavelength. But if you don't have that much and you're not willing to build with somebody, it's kind of a very unrealistic expectation. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think like a lot of times we're kind of judging what was done back in the day.
Right.
Like 20, 30, 40 years ago, where a man, he may not have had everything set up, but the woman knew that she was going to get with a man that maybe had some goals and wanted to work and at least take care of the family. And she may not have come with much because, again, a lot of women weren't allowed to vote and work and do many things. You just had to work in the house. So times have definitely changed, which is good. But then, like you said before, like they want a man that has everything set up. But it's like a little bit more set up than it was before, where like when a man was in his 20s, he kind of finished school, had a job, was making money, but now it's like they want a man that already has the house and the car and everything.
Yeah,
life is so hard right now that just getting all that up together. People are in their 40s and they still don't even have that stuff up together because it's so expensive. And in society, it's hard. It definitely is hard. Prices are like through the roof on everything. And for you to actually have everything set and ready and be a millionaire already before you meet the right person is kind of far-fetched.
It's crazy.
And it's stressing a lot of people out. There's a lot of depression, stress. Oh, I'm not here yet. I don't have this. But again, times are much harder than they were years ago.
I think so. I mean, for that type of expectation, I mean, it's unrealistic, especially if you're not coming with the same thing. Like, if you're not coming with the house and the car, like, if you are, then I can understand that you want someone with the same thing. I get that. That's very different. I understand that completely. But if you don't have it, and you're not working on your own goals to get that for yourself, and you just want to marry into it, like, you're looking for pretty much, I think, like a kind of sugar daddy at that point. You're not looking for a real husband. You're looking for, like, your husband's not your father. Like, he's not the one that's supposed to, like, put you in a house. Like, your father's supposed to do that. Like, your father takes care of you as a child, but you're not and I think a lot of women confuse that role. I'm like, you got to figure that out. Like, if you're going to be with somebody, you have to know that, yeah, if they're working and they're doing their thing, and they might not have everything that you want in terms of, like, material things, but you can come alongside them and you can work together to get the things that you both want, then I think it's better in the long run too, because then you don't have anybody holding that over your head, where it's like, okay, well, this is my house and this is my stuff, and you're just coming in it. Like, I know I don't want to have that. But then, women, everybody changes. Everybody's different. I mean, but yeah, I don't know.
I got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, like, before we were talking about gender roles, and I wrote down some stuff here, and I'll just go through a little bit, and then we can have our take on it, I guess.
Sure.
So, like, I guess I can't talk for all men, but I believe, based on what I'm thinking, right, this might not be for you, but I think most men want a woman that you can be chauvinistic or whatever you want to call it, but most men, I believe, want a woman that can at least cook, clean, keep a clean house, family oriented. Those that want to have children and want to have a family, I think they want a woman that is mindset of that, very respectful. Even if stuff is up and down, she's still respectful towards you. Won't embarrass you in public, like won't embarrass you amongst others. Like really loves you for you, and is caring. I think most men, if they have all those things, they're good. I think. Oh yeah, and sex, like very. What do you say? They want a woman.
Who wants to have sex?
Okay, simple as that.
Well, I mean,
straight up.
yeah.
And then women, on the women aspect, this was my mindset. I think most, you can talk about it after. I think most women, definitely in our society at this time, they want a provider, a protector, someone that's going to protect them and the family if they're family oriented. Like I said, if a man attacks her, he's not going to run down the street and take off. He's going to be there to protect his wife, even if the dude has a gun or a knife or whatever. Good listener. I think women want a good listener.
Yeah.
A communicator, or even not communicator, but listener. Someone that's ambitious, willing to take risks. They want like a rough man, someone that's going out and doing things, not someone that's sitting on the couch. When I mean rough man, I mean someone that's like a go-getter, right? I think women want that. They also probably want a tough man, someone that's muscly. I don't know,
I think
like Arnold or some kind of Idris or some kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
you want a man that masculine.
Let's go on the masculine, which can mean many different things, but okay, let's deal with the masculine. I didn't have that written down. Yeah. Someone that loves her for who she is and who she is. And also respectful too, and then also on the man's side, the man wants someone that's loving and respectful too, like I said before. So I think that's kind of like what most women want and what most men want. Do you think there's maybe some changes here and there, but I mean, I think that's pretty much what both.
Yeah, you talked about the men wanting sex. Women want that too.
Oh yeah, that too. I didn't. Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, listen. Yeah, make sure that. Anyway, but yeah, I think that is pretty much what I would agree.
And
with
then nothing's wrong with those roles. Like you can change it if you want to change it. If you want a woman to cook or a woman wants a man to cook, like you guys agree on what you want, right? So like that's not be all end all. But I'm just thinking that's what most men want. What women want. I think
it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, I've always heard that the key to a man's heart is through his stomach, and I think if you feed him, I hate to sound so basic, but if you can cook for your husband or cook for your man, you're caring and you do all the things like that. Like I think it should be fine. But I mean, I don't know. I think that we get too lost or too politically correct in saying, oh, we don't want gender roles, we want this or we want that. I'm like, well, you do what you want to do. Whatever works for you, great. Yes, but sir. I think for us, it's pretty traditional. And it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with it being traditional. I think a lot of the times, especially...
Do what works for you.
Yeah.
Do what works for you and your company.
Yeah, do what works for you.
That's it.
That's about it.
Yeah. So. If the gender roles are like, you want him to cook and he's okay with it, like as long as it doesn't start a fight within your relationship, that's what we're talking about here. Like, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, talk about it. Let's try and change some stuff up if it's not working for you. But again, it's between you and the other person, not outsiders, not society. Whatever works for you, works for you. And if it doesn't work, then you talk about it amongst yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe make some tweaks here, changes here. Because if the main goal is to stay together for the next 50, 60 years and be happy, then who cares what other people want to say, like, or what they want to do. Whatever works for you, works for you. And that's the be-all, end-all. Like, like that's what we're talking about here. Like, we're talking about those that want to stay together. Those that want to be amongst each other for the next 40, 50, 60 years. It's working for you. Don't change it. If it's not broke, don't fix
it.
Yeah, you don't have to fix it if it's not broken, right? Like, whatever works. Or if it starts to break or starts to fall apart or starts to tear away, let's try and mend it back again. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're here to help as many people as we can. If you guys like this content, share and like it, and comment. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can again check it out on Facebook and Instagram at the Running Maverick, the Money Maverick. It's Mark Johnson.
And I'm Michelle Johnson at Real Michelle Melissa.
And you're chilling with the Johnsons. You guys take care. All the best. Don't give up. You can do it. And life is rough.
It's good too.
But it's good. All right? You guys take care.
Okay.